Good afternoon, my noobs of various console origins. It is I, Yemmy the Pope, aka Papa Ferret here. I have my sacred scripts, Shrek Super Slam, and Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts. 'Cause with perfection, there comes travesty. Now please, join me in our first hymn, the Halo theme song. Oh, oh. Thank you. My accent has changed once again. We must bow our head. We must bless this podcast of the video games. We must bless it. So let's bow our heads and get out our controllers. Please power on your controller. Oh, Sequi Day, Xboxy Day, Sony Shrek Super Slammy Oh, Joust Day, Reggie Leaves, Nintendo Bowser Sony Kratos Super Slammy PlayStation Battle Royale Microsoft Nintendo Partnership Pizza Day. Alright, thank you so much for joining Papa Ferret in the blessing of the podcast. You may now power down your controllers and let us begin. Let's bless this bitch. Hey, what's up everybody? It's me, Yemmy the Ferret here with another episode of the YemmyCast, a video game podcast. Now for your listening pleasure on YouTube, Spotify, SoundCloud, and iTunes. So thank you so much for joining me wherever you're at. If you are here at the YouTube premiere, that premieres every Wednesday and Saturday at 4 p.m., thank you so much for coming around. It's a pleasure having you here. How are you doing today? Thank you to Papa Ferret for blessing the podcast today. He was very good at his job. Was that sacrilegious? I don't know. Anyways, we got a lot of big news today, including PS5 is now, has been kind of pretty much revealed. God of War has a board game now. Pizza is being delivered to 343 Industries in record numbers, and Reggie Leaves has officially walked out the building. He's no longer in the building. But to start things off, once again, I want to thank you all for coming around. It's been quite a pleasure doing this every week, 2 times a week with you guys. And today, actually yesterday, I got a disturbing thing in the mail. I got my copy of Game Informer, GameStop's official gaming magazine. Yes, I still get Game Informer because you know what? It has some good articles in there. This month is Mortal Kombat. I can't resist. So I opened it up and I go, what is the game of the month this month? And it's The Division 2. The Division 2, you say? What was the score? A 3? No, it's a 9. By Game Informer standards, Division 2 beats Devil May Cry 5. I know a lot of people are probably up in arms about that. And Sekiro's Shadows Die Twice. And also the other travesty is Anthem. Anthem got a 7 out of 10. Now, I'm not one to judge a game so harshly that I attack people online or I belittle people because they like the game. That's not me. That's not me. I am a follower of Papa Ferret, all right? But to give The Division 2 a 9, that's sacrilegious. Like, I just don't know where they're coming from with this whole review. They go over all these things about The Division 2, and I just don't agree with any of them, to be honest with you. I mean, I agreed with their Sekiro Shadows Die Twice review. I sort of agreed with their Anthem review, but this one I read, and I was like, where are you coming from with this? The gameplay is just so monotonous and repetitive all the missions just repeat over and over and over again. You go to the mission area, you go through a corridor, you get to a spot where you need to fight enemies, you defend that spot, you get more waves of enemies come, you defend again, you keep going, and it's just mission after mission after mission, side mission after side mission after side mission that just does the same freaking thing. The one thing I like about The Division 2 is the locations. The graphics look great. Everything looks great in this game. It's just when you get down to the gameplay and the core mechanics of the game, it's a little sloppy. I'll be honest with you. I usually do not go on rants. Oh, that's a lie, Yemmy. Yes, it is a lie. Okay. But I might possibly go on a rant with this, so stick with me, okay? Because me and my friend Nick, shout out to Nick, we've been playing through The Division 2 weekly. We get through about an area a day when we play it. And we started off really strong in the game. We really were enjoying it. It felt like a better version of the original Division game. And slowly but surely, we found out how repetitious the damn game is. Every mission plays out the same. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Every mission plays out the same. Start the mission. Go through a little bit of the mission. Get to a big area. Oh, here's a big wave of enemies. Press a button. Go to the next area. Here's a big wave of enemies. Next area. Here's a named enemy. I just don't understand like how people can give this game a high rating anymore. Like at the beginning, I was on board with it, but now after I played through almost 90% of the game, everything it has to offer, I don't see where it's coming from. Yes, they improved the Dark Zone. Yes, they've improved the map and the textures and the quality. Yes, they made less collectibles on the screen, which is great, but the collectibles don't disappear when you pick them up. I'm a little disappointed with the game now. Just going through it just seems like I'm doing the same thing every day, but we are in a different location. And, oh yes, the enemies are supposedly supposed to be leveling up. But of course, we already are the max level pretty much. We have all the special abilities. We have all the upgrades to your character that you can get, and it doesn't make sense to me that some of these upgrades you have to wait till level 30 to get. It just doesn't. I just don't understand that. Some of those things are just so stupid. I just don't understand. But I digress. The game just does not seem to be a 9 out of 10 quality game to me. I think if I was going to rate this game right now, with how much I played it, with how much enjoyment and how much not enjoyment I've had of the game, I'd probably give it like a 6 out of 10. That would be like a 3 out of 5, maybe a 2.5. It's not a game that I'm going to replay. It's not a game that I feel like would be good for live streaming. Maybe if I had 3 or 2 other friends to play it with, maybe it might get better, but to be honest with you, I don't think so. Maybe going to the Dark Zone will change my mind. I've been in there twice. Let me tell you, it's not different from the first game. I mean, there's minor things changed, which is fine. I don't know. I'm just on the fence right now. It's teetering and tottering. Because every time that I go play the game with my friend, I start not liking it more and more. And that is a bad thing. That is a bad thing. But anyways, let's move on to the biggest news of the day, the big news of today. And that is the PS5 is coming. Sony has confirmed it, but don't expect it this year, maybe next year or the year after, which is fine by me. I still think the PlayStation 4 and the Pro is a competent system. It works just fine, but I'm not ready to buy a new console yet. I've invested a lot of money into the PS4. I've updated the hardware. I've got a lot of digital games and physical games. But here's the things that you can see coming to the PS5, and Sony has confirmed this. They took the entire industry by surprise, and as part of a Wired exclusive interview, they went over everything that the PS5 is going to offer. So it's confirmed there will be backwards compatibility with PS4 games. It will be compatible with all PSVR games and the PSVR itself. It'll also have enhanced game audio processing. It'll have a disk drive. There will be a disk drive. It'll have also a specialized solid-state drive to reduce load times and improve performance. It's already been in production for 4 years, and it could release with Death Stranding. Also, Sony wants the game devs to have time to adjust the PS5's capabilities. That's why they're talking about it now. They've also said that it's going to have support 8K graphics, and there's going to be expansions to ray tracing, bringing the Hollywood effect into your home. And they're not ready to talk about the price, the games, or the services yet. But it's all but confirmed that the PS5 is coming soon-ish. Soon-ish. So, one of the things that I did mention was Death Stranding could be releasing on the PS5. It could also be a PS4, PS5 cross kind of thing, cross-generation gap. As I said multiple times now, I seriously think that Death Stranding is going to be a PS5 launch title. It's going to release on PS4 as well, but it's going to be a PS5 release title. So they're taking their extra time with it. They're making it up to spec for both systems. This is something that I've been talking about for a while, and I've been hinting at for a while, that there is going to be Death Stranding is going to be like the mature rated game that's going to be that's going to be on the console day one. Really, no other information about the PS5 right now, currently, but you can find all the information at pushsquare.com and or wired.com or not wired.com, but the Wired website to read the whole listing of things and everything that they went over. One thing that really stood out to me was Sony was talking about the Google Stadia, and they were saying that they did it first. Sony did it first this time, everyone. They did the cloud gaming first. So technically, I think that PS1, PS2, and PS3 games that are on the PlayStation Now service, those will all be compatible with the PS5 as well, hopefully. So if you do have a subscription to that, I think it's well worth it nowadays to have that. And they're saying that we are the pioneers of that genre. Google is taking after us. So, I'm glad that the PS5 is going to have a disc drive. I still buy disc games constantly. Everything I have pre-ordered right now is all disc, except for World War Z, which I will get to in a little bit. Everything I bought this year has pretty much been a disc-only version. So I'm still a huge fan of discs if I feel like I have the property in my hand and I own the property. Now, that doesn't mean that I do actually own that property, because when you put the disc in, literally you have to download, you have to install the game, and then you have to download, a patch and whatever. And it takes longer to do that than just downloading the game digitally. And World War Z, I did buy the game. I do have it on a computer. It's waiting to be played. So far, I opened up the main menu and that was it. So far, the main menu isn't very impressive, but I think that the gameplay is going to speak for itself on this one. I'll let you guys know on the weekend episode if I'm liking it or not. I took a big risk with this one because World War Z, I mean, you all know that I have not been, saying good things about it for the most part. But it is funny that they released World War Z before Days Gone came out, just because it's a zombie game, it's a horde zombie game, it's not as open world, it's more like straight and linear like a Left 4 Dead game. So we'll see which one does better. I mean, obviously, Days Gone is going to do better. Hey, Mr. Predicto, is Days Gone going to do better than World War Z, the video game?
The answer you seek is yes.
Ah, I knew it. Mr. Predicto, once again, is probably going to predict something correct. And speaking of disk to install ratio and updates and stuff like that, Days Gone will eat a good portion of your PS4 hard drive. It's going to be about 67 gigabyte. It's going to need about 67 gigabytes of hard drive space, and the day one patch is going to be around 20 gigabytes. So if you have a 500 gigabyte console, you may need to make some room or get an external HDD for your PS4. Days Gone, obviously, I knew it was going to be a big file size. There's some games out there that don't deserve a big file size, and there's some that do. And this is one of those ones that I'm like, yeah, it probably does deserve a big file size. I mean, you have to be you stupid noob! A stupid noob to not know that this was going to be a large file size. Alright, so Reggie Fils-Aimé has packed up his office. He reflects on the good times at Nintendo, and leaves the office to Doug Bowser. So, as you know from past episodes, Reggie Fils-Aimé retired, and today, the 16th of April, was his last day. So he packed up his office, he wore his me head one last time before it went to the storage. He said thank you on Twitter. He opened up a new Twitter account for personal use, and he showed off all of his E3 badges. There's tons of them in there. And then finally, he left the Master Sword in the stone to the next Nintendo of America CEO, who is Doug Bowser, of course. So there's lots of mementos in his office. He has a bunch of amiibos also gracing his office as well. He has signed posters. He has like exclusive stuff. Obviously, he has pictures of himself, which is kind of weird to me. He also doesn't seem to. He looks like he used a laptop, not a desktop. So that might we might view him in a different light now. I'm just kidding. But yes, he set up his own personal Twitter account. His old one is over and being placed into the hands of Doug. What does this mean for Nintendo going forward? It's kind of a question mark right now because we don't know if Doug Bowser is really going to be a happy face like Reggie is. Like, you see Reggie and you're like, oh, it's Reggie. You see Doug Bowser and you go, oh, his last name's Bowser? Like, literally, that is the first thing that comes to mind. So, good luck to Reggie in all his future endeavors. I wish him good health. And, of course, I hope that he lives a nice life, and hopefully he doesn't stay out of the Nintendo scene for too long. All right, so 343 Industries, the developer of Halo, they put out a big update a few days ago on the 12th of April, and it had a bunch of stuff about the Halo Insider program, the Master Chief Collection updates, and also Halo Outpost, and more. The Master Chief Collection is supposed to be coming onto Steam and the PC. I don't know if it's going to be this year, but it looks like it's going to be soon. And this is a huge thing because it's pretty much Halo 1 through 4, including Halo Reach. And right now, you can sign up on their website, and you can actually possibly test the game on your PC if you so desire. But one of the bigger stories today coming from GameSpot, and this was actually shown to me by a person on Twitter named Wheel of Fate. So thank you to you. If you have suggestions for the podcast and you find a news article that I might not have covered in the last episode, send it to me. I will give you a shout out if it's interesting enough, and of course I will talk about it. But 343 Industries has said, please don't send us any more pizzas, because there is such a thing as too much pizza. So 343 has come out and said the Halo community is awesome. We're excited too, but please don't send us any more pizzas to 343 Industries headquarters. The building receptionist isn't here, so it's getting logistically challenging, and we really don't want to see food go to waste. So I guess there is such a thing as too much pizza. I'm as surprised as you guys. So, you know, actually, the funny thing is, after they put this out and after they did their big update, they got more pizza in, almost like some sort of bad joke. So apparently they're getting flooded with pizzas. I don't know what toppings are on these pizzas. Maybe it's pepperoni, maybe it's pineapple, maybe it's bacon, maybe it's anchovies. We don't know. They aren't saying right now, but they just say, you know, we don't want the food to go to waste. Obviously, we can't eat it all, and if we do eat it all, we're all going to get the diabetes. So, Capcom has announced its own plug-and-play arcade that comes with classic games. The design of this is really strange. It's literally the Capcom logo with two joysticks coming out of it and a multitude of buttons on it, as you see from the picture in the corner. So this has been revealed that it's going to plug directly into your TV, and it's going to launch on the 25th of October this year. They call it the Capcom Home Arcade, and there's little doubt as who's making it. It's obviously Capcom. So the revealed trailer showcased the Strix premium quality sticks and buttons and its emulation hardware of the original arcade cabinet games. It also has a micro USB powered port with an HDMI output and an onboard Wi-Fi to upload scores to the worldwide leaderboards. There's two player options on all the games, and it's going to include 16 pre-installed games so far. 1944 The Loop Master, Alien vs. Predator, Armed Warriors, Capcom Sports Club, Captain Commando, Cyberbots, Full Metal Madness, Dark Stalkers, The Night Warriors, Eco Fighters, Final Fight, Ghosts, Ghouls and Goblins, Giga Wing, Street Fighter 2, Mega Man The Power Battle, Pro Gear, Strider, and Super Puzzle Fighter 2 Turbo. So, this is pretty interesting. We've seen a lot of these plug-and-play systems. Some of them are complete trash. Some of them are actually interesting. This one looks pretty interesting. It's not like a mini console. It's not like a mini arcade cabinet. It's pretty much just a plug-and-play kind of thing. It's also cool that they're going to have online leaderboards. I'm not sure if that's going to be like a huge thing, but it's going to be interesting. I doubt we'll see like actual online play though. I think they're just going to keep it to the local co-op as well. Hey, the sticks are also 8-way dimensional, so that's actually a big plus because a lot of these little things are only 4-way dimensional. So yeah, interesting news for people who like old Capcom cabinet games, and maybe you'll pick one up. Let me know how it is. Final thing for Nintendo news, the Switch exclusive Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, The Black Order, is going to release July. So if you remember from the Nintendo Direct, last Nintendo Direct, Ultimate Alliance 3 was announced, and now they have a confirmed date of the 19th of July. So the cover for this one is pretty nice looking. It is a little jumbled because there is like every character from the expanded and the movie universe, comic book universe as well. Of course, we want to usually say that one first. You can see in the background we have Hulk and Captain Marvel and Wolverine, of course, Venom, Gwen, Spider-Gwen, Space Lord, Star-Lord, Jesus Christ, Deadpool, Black Panther, Doctor Strange, Daredevil, and more. I never was a huge fan of the Ultimate Alliance games, but this one looks pretty good. What I've seen for it. I don't know if I'm going to get it right away, but you know, let me know how this one is too. I'm interested in it because I am a pretty big fan of Marvel. I've seen pretty much all the movies except for Ant-Man and Wasp, so I guess I'm kind of a fan. I did see Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel was, it was okay. It wasn't the best thing ever. I wasn't like blown away by it, you know. I wasn't like, whoa, this is amazing. The end of it was pretty good. I felt like the ending was pretty solid, especially with the like end game kind of thing at the end there. I don't want to spoil anything for anyone. I felt like this movie definitely was a you know, I'm a woman and I can do what men can do. We all get that. That's not like a bad thing about the movie, but it did kind of hamper the story a little bit because you had these flashbacks where people were saying cringy things like she crashed her go-kart and her dad's like, you shouldn't have been out there because you're a girl. And there's one flashback where she's trained to be a fighter pilot. And this guy's like, oh, it's called a cockpit for a reason. Just cringy things like that happened, and I wasn't a fan of those things. But the scenes with Samuel L. Jackson and Brie Larson kind of interacting together, and it was kind of like a fish out of water story like Thor and all those other movies like that. So it was actually a pretty fun movie. But all in all, it seemed a little rushed. It seemed a little... They seem to have changed the story a little bit just to kind of force some ideals on you. But those things didn't really weigh down the movie so much that I hated it. I did feel like Brie Larson didn't give the best performance she could have in this movie. Everyone else was kind of acting to their full potential. There were some issues I had with the CGI in it. There were several scenes where they had Captain Marvel be CGI and it just didn't look good at all. Other than that, though, I liked the designs of the characters. I thought that the twist, even though it wasn't really a twist in the movie, because if you've seen Guardians of the Galaxy, you already know what the twist is, pretty much. I thought it was fine. You know, I saw it coming early on just because, you know, a certain character shows up and you're like, okay, so they're, you know, this is gonna happen. There's a lot of callbacks to Guardians of the Galaxy in this one, which I enjoyed. There's some more backstory for some characters who showed up here and there in Guardians of the Galaxy. So that's the things I liked about that. So all in all, Captain Marvel, it was a good movie. It was good. Would I watch it again? Probably not. It's probably not going to be one of those movies I watch again, like Infinity War or the original Ant-Man or the Guardians of the Galaxy movies or the Spider-Man movies. I am really excited for Endgame. I hope that it's going to live up to the expectations. I really hope to God they don't bring back the dead characters who they killed during Infinity War, because then then everything wouldn't mean anything. What does it matter? Who cares who dies and lives? I really think that this movie needs an impact, and I really think that they need to keep the characters who were legitimately killed off in Infinity War to stay dead. That will really impact the series as a whole. And, of course, they'll bring back the people who got snapped out of existence. But we need to keep the people who died and had emotional deaths. We need to keep them down. I know that sounds a little, that sounds a little cryptic. But to be honest with you, that is really what I think, should happen. And maybe Ant-Man will shoot up Thanos' ass and expand.
Now that's a lot of damage.
I am also excited for the new Spider-Man movie. I know I'm kind of going off here on a non-video game thing here, but I am excited for that. I thought that the trailer was really good for that. I don't know if everyone's as excited as per se I am, but I'm still interested. Can't I be interested in something without being punished? Speaking of interesting things, God of War has gotten its very own card game. It's going to launch this year. God of War is a year old this month, and it's also just did its. I think it was the 10th anniversary was a few days ago, and there's a bunch of free themes and avatars for the game, and now the board game company CMON CMON has announced that it's hard at work at a new card game based on Kratos' Nordic adventures. So it's just going to be named God of War the Card Game. In God of War the Card Game, players take on the role of the Norns as they try different combinations of heroes and events in order to stop Ragnarok, says the company on the website. Each game is a new attempt to find a right key to saving Midgard from destruction. 1 to 4 players must work together, embodying mighty heroes such as Kratos, Mimir, Atreus, Brock, and Sindir and Freya. They will fight enemies and bosses from the popular God of War video game, but combined and remixed in exciting new ways, creating unique what-if scenarios. This sounds interesting. I really want to see what it's all about before I give it my okay, my okay hand. It's interesting, though. Not too many video games are getting board games now. I know there's a few out there that I obviously don't remember right now. But, we'll see where this goes. I know not as many people like to play board games anymore, but I think there's a little bit of a resurgence coming around, and this game might help with that. It seems like it's going to be kind of like a Monopoly with Kratos in it. I'm just kidding. I have no clue. All right, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order has officially been revealed with a story trailer. It's going to be remade. It's going to be made by Respawn Entertainment, the same people as Apex Legends and Titanfall. The trailer has a setting of after the Republic collapses and the Empire takes over. He's a survivor. Oh, Cal Kestis is his name, and he's a survivor of the Order 66 initiative, where almost all the Jedi were wiped out, and he has kept his powers concealed in order to stay alive. But of course, he's going to have to use them. There's not a lot of gameplay in this. It's mostly cinematics. The fighting has been described as thoughtful, meaning that you'll have some versatility to what you can do, movements and combat and stuff like that. Hopefully there'll be a gameplay trailer soon, because the cinematics didn't get me excited. I know people are going to be like, oh, heresy! But to be honest with you, it didn't get me excited. The cinematics just looked kind of lame to me. Like he was running across the wall and he jumped and a guy was reaching out to him. How many times has that happened? There were some shots that were cool, like where they, lifted up the fallen Republic ship. They cut it in half and they lifted it up a piece, which was fine. But for the most part, I just was like, I need more. I need actual gameplay of this, because right now it's just looking like a Star Wars Battlefront 2 scenario. But they have come out and said that it's going to be a single-player only game. There's going to be no microtransactions, no multiplayer, no bullshit. Respawn Entertainment knows what they're doing with games. We've seen it with Titanfall. We've seen it with Apex Legends. They know what they want in a game, and I think we have good people in the hands of the Star Wars franchise right now. Even though it still has EA in it, EA is still on the bottom. It's in big letters. I think Respawn Entertainment, as long as EA doesn't fuck with them, will be okay. Okay? Let's ask Mr. Predicto one more question. Mr. Predicto, will Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order be a good game? Please. Please.
I am confident.
Oh.
It is no.
Oh. He is confident. The answer is no. Oof. I think this would be the last straw for a lot of people. This is going to be the last straw. If they fuck up a single player game, I think that people are going to be up in arms once again, and I think more and more people are going to stop getting these Star Wars games and EA games in general. EA games in general have just kind of been lackluster so far. I finally got to try out the Battlefield 5 Firestorm update and played a little bit of the Firestorm Battle Royale mode, and I gotta say,
Boo! You stink!
God, was it awful. It was just so bad. I don't even know what to say about it right now. I'll keep my thoughts inside for now, but just know that I think it's poopy, stupid poopy. That's what I think it is, stupid poopy. So it sounds like Disney Plus, which is the streaming service for Disney movies and its affiliates, it sounds like it's going to be coming to the PS4 when it launches in November, and Disney also wants to push out Netflix from the Switch. The Netflix has been trying to get on the Switch for almost what seems like years now, and Disney Plus may take its spot on the Switch platform. Hulu's already on the Switch, but Disney and Netflix have sort of this like little friendship going on right now, but it seems like Disney is done with that. So the PlayStation, first and foremost, is about games, of course, but they want to get their apps on the PS4 too. So Netflix, Amazon Prime, the British Broadcasting Service, they're all on the PlayStation right now, and Disney Plus wants to get on all the services. So in addition to Disney movies, you're going to get access to Pixar movies, Marvel, Star Wars, National Geographic, and possibly 20th Century Fox films, since they are acquiring them right now. So this is also going to include all the episodes of The Simpsons and hundreds of movies and other programming. So is Marge a Disney princess now? I guess we'll have to see. No news on when it's going to be launching yet. They just say that November is the general release time. Alright, so some people are concerned about Ghost of Tushima because a new job listing has kind of concerned people. Right now, Sucker Punch is looking for a narrative writer to help flesh out the open world in Ghost of Tushima. Ghost of Tushima is kind of like the Sekiro easy mode you might want. I actually don't know anything about it yet. No one really knows anything about it yet, but from what we've seen, it looks like Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, but it's not a Dark Souls style. So, what they've said is, the Seattle-based studio has said that they want someone who can write high-quality dialogue under tight deadlines for a diverse cast of characters who live in the world of 13th century Japan. So, this means that the title might not be a long ways away, but they're actually trying to rush things to get the deadlines done. I hope they don't rush things, because Ghost of Tsushima is looking to be an interesting game. So, this kind of, like, has put people, it's made people a little bit nervous about the game. This might be the first this might be the first Sony published game that is getting the rush job done on it. But yeah, it's very interesting that they're asking for a narrative director so far into the game's progress of being made. I know the main chunk of this game is probably not going to be the open world stuff, but then again, it could be. So I think if they try and rush that stuff, it might turn out to be a little poopy. So speaking of Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice, it sold over 2 million copies in 10 days. The From Software has really been killing it with the sales on this one. In 10 days, they've sold 2 million copies for their new IP. The game has been pretty successful, wide-reaching. A lot of people have given it positive reviews. Some people are finding the game to be easier than anticipated after their initial playthrough. Some people are finding the game to be extremely difficult on their first playthrough and second playthrough, and etc., etc. Me personally, I'm still finding the game a little bit easy. The stealth system in the game is obviously very broken. You can stealth pretty much through most of the game. And also, you can pretty much stealth hit the first kill on a boss every single time, whether it's a small boss or a big boss. Most of the time, you can get your initial kill on him, and it will take him down to one remaining little vial, whatever you want to call it, a little bubble. Me personally, I'm still enjoying the game. I think it's a well done game. I think it's completely fleshed out, not unlike a Dark Souls type game. The story is definitely there on this one. Twitch has seen 1.1 billion minutes of watched gameplay within the first week of Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. People are finishing up the platinum on this game, saying that it's a little bit easier than, let's say, the original Dark Souls or Dark Souls 2. It's in the same vein of Bloodborne and Dark Souls 3. So whichever way you slice it, Sekiro is popular right now, and it might not stop being popular until possibly Ghost of Tushima comes out, or it may just never stop being popular. This might be another Bloodborne scenario where, you know, it's a different IP. It's not exactly a Dark Souls game, but it's Souls-like, and people latch onto it. And I think it's a great game. I think that I don't really have any discrepancies with it so far, except for the fact that the stealth system just makes the game a little bit way too easy. Let's move on to the last item for today, which is Fortnite's latest update. It's pretty much ripped off of respawn points from Apex Legends. So yesterday, in a major update to Fortnite, the Battle Royale game that took the nation by storm. Blech. Anyways, version 8.30 has come out and fixed bugs and general stuff like that, and additionally, it's changed the way you play. Reboot vans are now available across the map, and basically they do exactly the same thing as Apex Legends. Your teammate gets knocked down, there's a reboot card that you pick up, and then you can take to the van. You'll have 90 seconds to take it to a van. Which is a little bit different from Apex Legends, because they do have an unlimited time limit to get there. So this is a little bit different, but not different enough to not call it blatant blatant freaking copying. Yeah, copying. This is blatant copying of Apex Legends. Apex Legends does something right. Fortnite wants to steal it away. Now, I will tell you this, I'm not enjoying Apex Legends as much as I was. I think a lot of players have come into the game that are very toxic, just like in the Fortnite community, so I'm not enjoying it as much as I have been. A lot of the squads I get teamed up with are just, they don't want to work as a team. But once you do the reboot van, you'll have it'll take 2 minutes to be able to be back up and working again. Essentially, this is just a copy of Apex Legends, to be honest with you. There's just a little bit of a time limit there. I don't know if the reboot card will have a time limit on it. Maybe that's the main difference, is the reboot card doesn't have a time limit, but you only have 90 seconds to take that reboot card to the van. Who knows? But I mean, Battle Royale games are running out of ideas, and once a new one comes around and gives an idea that's which is a good idea, someone else has got to take it and put it in their own game. So that's dumb. That's just a dumb thing for today. And finally, PUBG has been banned in Nepal, coming off of it being banned in India as well. This information comes from a Twitter user named... So kind of in the same vein, Battle Royale games, PUBG has officially been banned in Nepal. This comes right after the 10 students in India have been arrested for violating India's version of the banning of PUBG. I'm not sure why they banned PUBG. I think it's just because a lot of people think that there's a link between video games and violent tendencies. That's been proven wrong multiple times now. There's been plenty of research done about it, but governments don't really care about research. They just care about keeping their citizens safe. I would hope. But this got brought to my attention by Gamer Redefined. It's just another story about people who are out of touch with today's latest and greatest things, trying to drop laws on this stuff. So, is Fortnite next for Nepal? Is Fortnite next for India? We'll have to see. Obviously, you remember last episode last week, I talked about Prince Harry saying that Fortnite should be banned in the UK because it's addicting and blah blah blah. I think really what it comes down to here is if a kid is having a problem, maybe he is acting violently because he's been playing so many video games, or he's yelling a lot. I think it's up to the parents to put a stop to that. When I was a kid, my parents limited my gaming time. Through the N64 days, I could play for an hour. I would type in the number on the stove timer, and it would beep, and I would have to save and be done, which was kind of hard with like Donkey Kong or something like that, because the saving was like you had to go somewhere specific. Same thing with the GameCube era. When I had a GameCube, I was restricted to only playing like 3 hours a day, 2 hours a day. I had to get my homework done first. I had to do this first. I had to do that first. With the Xbox era and the Wii era, when I had those two systems, the PS3, I was in high school and getting out of being a teenager by that time, so I didn't have time limits, and I was playing with friends on there as well. So I guess my parents saw it as like a social opportunity. I don't know. But I really think it's up to the parents and not the government to help with this situation. I think if your kid is showing a lot of emotional stress when playing video games or just in general and you think it's linked to the video games, I think it's good to put some limits on it. I know a lot of kids are going to scream and yell and blah, 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 but I mean, as a parent, you need to not just be their friend, but also be their parent. And I'm not trying to criticize anyone. I'm not trying to stir anything up. Those are just my thoughts on the thing. I don't have a kid of my own, so obviously I really can't say much on the subject. But I don't think the government stepping in and banning it or, saying that it's bad or addicting is the right step for this, because games have been around for years. We've had Doom, we've had Wolfenstein, we've had Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter games that are very, very violent. Vigilante 8 was one of my first violent video games. Vigilante 8 was a game where you drove cars and you shot each other and blew each other up, and it was a great game. It had a great soundtrack, and I really enjoyed playing it, but I knew that there was a detachment from reality. Like, you're not going to go out into the real world and shoot people with guns on your cars. That's not going to be something that I was going to do. I just kind of played around with my own little mini cars, my little Hot Wheels. So yeah, that's my thoughts on that. Thank you to Game Redefined for bringing that to my attention. Like I said earlier, if you do have something that you want, that I missed on the podcast, and you think that it's going to be a good point of conversation, let me know. Send it to me on Twitter or wherever you may find me. And I think that about wraps it up for this episode. A little bit shorter than usual, but I don't think there was really that much, as in big news this past week. Just a little announcement on my end. I will be pretty much gone for about 5 days in a row. So this Saturday, I won't be doing a live stream because Saturdays are the only days I can get work done on my car, because the rest of the week I use my car for work. So I'm not going to be able to do a live stream that day. Maybe I'll do like a live stream later in the day, or maybe possibly I can't do it Sunday because Sunday I'm going to visit my sister and she lives in another state, so can't do that. But there will still be a podcast on Saturday. And then Monday, I don't think there'll be a live stream again because I'm going to a concert. If you remember from last episode, I talked about this, but I thought it was this week. It's actually next week, technically. So I'm going to a concert, La Dispute, going to a concert Monday, and then also Tuesday, I'm going to a concert as well. So there will probably be a podcast on Tuesday, but it might not be as long as most of the other ones. So stick with me. It's going to be a little bit of a rough patch, just for getting things out in general, but I'll be having fun myself, and hopefully, it doesn't hurt my ratings, my standings on any of my platforms. But anyways, thank you for coming around to YemmyCast, a video game podcast. It's been a pleasure having you here. Thank you for coming to the premiere, if you're here for the premiere. Remember, the podcast is available on YouTube, Spotify, SoundCloud, and iTunes, all in the same day, Wednesdays and Saturdays. They premiere at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. So I live in Ohio, so just look on a map and go, oh, it's 5 hours behind me. Anyways, if you want to see more Papa Ferret, let me know. Let me know if you thought that was funny or if it was just offensive. And then also, thank you so much to Mr. Predicto for giving us his honest opinions and predictions. Anyways, once again, I am your host, Yemmy the Ferret, and this has been another episode of the YemmyCast, a video game podcast.